tonight, if he hadn't decided to go to Woolton Church Fete almost 30 years ago, the course of pop music would have been very different. Indeed, the course of 20th century history would have been very different. He is Sir Paul McCartney.
The Vicar of Woolton. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
All right, great, thanks, yeah.
Can I ask you a bit about the Sir bit of Sir Paul McCartney?
Yes, you can.
Now, I imagine you'll be too diplomatic to say this. My initial reaction was, it's long overdue a knighthood for Sir Paul McCartney.
Well, it's lovely. A few people have said that, you know. I don't really believe it, but it's great to have people say that, you know. It's a very nice compliment, isn't it? I mean, tell you the truth, you know, it's just such an honour, but I don't really kind of use it, you know. I mean, I don't sort of say, you've got to call me that. In fact, I prefer just to be called Paul McCartney. Yeah. I got on a plane the other day and somebody said, "Welcome, Sir Paul." I looked behind to see who they were talking to, you know. But it's such a great honour.
Yeah. When the Beatles got their MBEs, of course, some people got their sort of knickers in a twist over that, didn't they? Some Canadian MP, I seem to remember, returned his medal saying, "I don't want to be associated with," something very rude he said about the Beatles, like a bunch of numbskulls or something. I assume it shows how times changed, that everyone now is Sir Paul McCartney. Did you ever think about that and think, well, you weren't also keen when they gave me an MBE?
Yeah, it was funny, you know, because we really didn't expect that. I mean, we hadn't done anything virtually except just be a pop group, you know. Yeah. And Harold Wilson gave us them. So that was amazing to get. But, yeah, a few people sent them back. And then later John sent his back, you know. It got to be the kind of thing you send back, you know. Yeah. He sent his back in protest against the Biafran War, which seems a long time ago now. Yeah. That was great, you know. I mean, it's fantastic. If you grow up in Britain, you grow up with this whole sort of system, you know, and when it honours you, it's rude to refuse.
Of course. We'll talk a little more in just a moment. I want to hear a track now from your latest album. This, from Flaming Pie, is The World. An anecdote from John Lennon, wasn't it? Yeah,
we always used to get asked, how did you come up with the name Beatles? So John kind of developed a little answer, you know. Nobody's really sure. Actually, I think it was him and Stuart, who was our old bass player, just trying to look for a name which was double meaning, because we admired the name Crickets, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, and we thought it was a game and a grasshopper. So John wrote a thing called On the Dubious Origins of the Beatles, and it was a joke piece in a thing called the Mersey Beat, which is our local music paper. It was something, I can never remember, it was something like, "It came in a vision, a man came unto me on a flaming pie, and he said, you shall be the Beatles," with an A, and so it came to pass. It was something like that, you know. And later on, when we did the Beatles Anthology, a couple of people started getting serious and saying, "Well, no, we all know the origin. John had a vision." We said, "Come on." It was a joke, you know. So it got to be a funny little debate. Yeah. So when I was sort of messing around and looking for a rhyme for the word sky, actually, it came up to P and got pie and thought, well, no. And then I thought, wait a minute, Flaming Pie, it could be. So I made up a song with that, which was a slight tongue-in-cheek parody of this whole debate, you know. Yeah. The Flaming Pie is your first solo work for some time. Now, how does Paul McCartney arrive at the point where you want to put an album out? Because you don't have contractual obligation and that sort of thing. So do you just think, I've got 12 or 13 really good songs now, it's time to put a record out? How does it work? Well, yeah, it's normally that kind of thing. But in this case, it was, I'd been held up really from that normal process by the anthology, Beatles Anthology, because I knew there were 3 sets of double CDs coming out, and the record company and various other people had said to me, well, it won't be too cool for you putting out a single album in the middle of that. Right. Not only will it be commercial death, it also will look a little bit like unseemly. It'll look like you're trying to say, you know, forget the Beatles, I'm cool. Yeah. So I was quite happy with that eventually, and so I just started making music for my own fun. So instead of doing a whacking great kind of project, I just did a song at a time, and I liked the little collection, and they'd come with no pressure whatsoever. The personnel on the record's quite interesting, and how did you, was that just accidentally that all fell together? Well, they were kind of mates, you know, from a long time ago. One late night, there'd been a Beatle argument, and there'd been a big business thing, and they'd all stormed off, leaving me in the studio, sort of wondering what had gone on, you know. Anyway, that all worked out later, but the studio was consequently free, and Steve Miller put his head round the door. He said, "Hey, man, is the studio free?" I said, "Well, I suppose it is, really, you know." He said, "Well, can I use it?" I said, "Well, yeah, all right, you know, but let's do something together," he said. So we ended up, I thrashed about on the drums because I was fairly angry after this meeting. Yeah. So I said, "Just let me drum and hit something, can I?" So I got on the drums, he got on guitar, and it was a track called My Dark Hour. So I remember that. I was actually playing it to my son because he's always asking, well, you know, did you know Steve? Like you've asked, you know. I said, oh, yeah. So I played him the track. He said, oh, I love it, you know. So it reminded me to get back in touch with Steve.
Right.
And that was a song called Young Boy.
Yeah.
Which was the British single.
Your son James plays on the record.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Did he sort of muscle in and say, Dad, I want to be on this record? Or?
No, it's kind of just the opposite. You know, he's not shy, but, you know, he's not really pushy. But he's been playing guitar for about 9 or 10 years now. And I just hear him at home, you know, and I just think, I occasionally say, oh, that's really good. Wow, you know, it doesn't really go beyond that. But I had this track called Heaven on a Sunday. I said, are you up for it? He said, yeah, okay. You know, ever so casual. And we just went into the studio, and it was lovely, really, because, you know, when you've lived with someone or played with someone for that long, you have got a little rapport.
Yeah.
With James, it just worked out.
Yeah. I'm intrigued that a lot of the records seem to have been written on holiday, because you'd think you'd just go on holiday and buy your Daily Mirror, you know, and a Kiss Me Quick hat, but obviously you don't, because a lot of the songs are written in sort of exotic locales where you'd think you'd be sunning yourself.
It's true. People say that to me. They say, Paul, you know, everyone goes on holiday and gets away from the work. What are you doing? Well, I do that too. You know, I like sailing and stuff, so I've got little sailboats, so I'll do that. I'll do my swimming, lying out in the sun, you know, a little bit of lunch and all that. But after lunch, I've kind of had enough of the lying out in the sun.
Yeah.
And I've done all my sort of activity, and I'm now into kind of chill out thing.
Yeah.
And that's pulling up a guitar, sitting down, just going off into a little room.
Yeah.
And to me, it's kind of still like a hobby, you know, which is one of the nice things about songwriting for me. It's never developed into a profession.
No, not really. It never felt like that.
It never has. Luckily, you know, it is for a lot of people. It's like churning out songs. To me, it's still kind of a magic process. You know, I pick up a guitar or sit at a piano, and I've no idea what I'm going to do. I may have a rough idea of a title or something, but then it's like, ooh, this magic little moment. Ooh, right. You know, if I'm lucky now, in the next few minutes, something just might appear.
Yeah.
And I'm still in love with that process, you know.
Okay. Let's hear another track from Flaming Pie. This is Great Day from Flaming Pie by Paul McCartney, I'm delighted to say is with me tonight. That particular track has had echoes for many people of tracks like, well, in particular Blackbird and things like that. Was that anything conscious about that?
Well, it's really because it's an acoustic song with just me and an acoustic, which I think that's the echo.
Right.
I've got a few little songs that are just for sort of sitting around the kitchen. Just songs I do when I pick up my guitar, or when the kids, when they were little, they're just dancing around, and, you know, if Dad's got a guitar, they dance to it, sort of thing. And I always used to do that little song, and Linda always used to sing along with it. And one of the other songs on the album is called Calico Skies.
Yeah.
And I was recording that song with George Martin. And it was all over so quickly that I thought, well, there's no point having him down here for the whole day. And I've just, ding, one song, thank you, goodbye. You know. So I thought, well, we have a cup of tea, but why don't we do another, you know?
Yeah.
So I pulled this one out of the hat and said, oh, I've got this one. It's been hanging around for years, really. Might as well try it. And it actually was going to be left off the album. We were going to finish the album with a big song called Beautiful Night, which is the penultimate track. But I thought it was a little too obvious, ending with a big, big thing. So it'd be nice to just come down again to something little and very intimate. So we did Great Day.
Something you've done, a manoeuvre you've used before, I seem to recall. Exactly. That, the big suite at the end of Abbey Road, and then you sort of puncture that almost with that little bit of Her Majesty at the end. So let me, since I've brought that up, let me turn to one of your former groups, the Beatles. Buzz Aldrin, who went to the moon. Well, he had problems, actually, because afterwards he found it was impossible to relate to kind of normal life, having been to the moon. Have you ever felt any touches of the kind of Buzz Aldrin syndrome of thinking, blimey, I was in the Beatles? You know what I mean? How easy is it to not be in the Beatles once you've been in them?
Yeah.